got for the supervisors here. And I'm going to do it in no particular order. I'm just going to decide who goes first and who goes last and who goes in the middle, and then I'll work out something in here. So, because you were last, I'll give you the first opportunity here.
Gee, thank you.
You're glad, aren't you?
Yeah, boy. It's just honored to sit by you.
All right, Steve. Steve, you got to get up there to the podium.
Can't think of the question on the way.
No. All right, Steve. The first question these questions that I'm going to do right now are all related, all came from the Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay.
And then the next ones will be from the audience, and we'll do those after these questions. But first question is, do you feel the RIM fees are an impediment to job growth and creation, and do you feel there is a better alternative for financing the public roads in our county?
Road impact mitigation fees, they're sort of hard to understand, sort of not hard to understand. If you have a home, there's going to be a mitigation fee put on it, and then you have a business, there's a mitigation fee put on it. To answer the question, does it inhibit business? Yes, it does. Do I have a better plan? I don't have an exact better plan, but speaking with people and doing research, I've come up with some ideas though. I don't really think that you should put mitigation fees on a business, okay? Let's say a business sends product up here, discovers the county's a good place to do business, and they relocate up here. Before, they were using the roads, getting to come up here, and they weren't paying a mitigation fee. Now they're coming up here, they don't use the roads anymore, customers come to them, and now we're going to charge them a mitigation fee. So I don't think putting a mitigation fee on a business is a good idea. As far as the homeowners go, I don't have a better way to do it. We got to keep our roads fixed until somebody can sell me on a better way to do it. What I would say on the homeowners, and somebody taught me this and I thought it was genius, let's not charge it, all of it up front, okay? It's sort of like any other kind of a plan. Give them a little bit each year, okay? Bring them, if you got like $4,000, sort of like mortgage insurance when you don't have a large enough down payment, you attach to their property bill a mitigation fee. That way it doesn't destroy the price of the home, okay? It gives them a little bit over time, and if somebody buys that home before the mitigation fee is all paid out, then they've got to assume that responsibility, and it's part of the sale. I really do think that can work. I think it'll take heat off the homeowners, and I think we might encourage some business if we're not putting the leather on their back with the mitigation fees, and that's my 2 cents.
All right, stay there. I have 2 more questions.
Oh, okay.
What would you do to make the county more attractive to business?
Well, there are so many things in my mind because I spent so many years in marketing, and that's kind of like what I've done, and so it's easy for me. But there's one thing that lately has been pointed out to me, and I'm going to bring that up because I won't have time to do any of the rest. We really need to work with our workforce. We've got somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 people on the unemployment rolls here, depending on whose numbers you take. We've got to reach out to those people, and we've got to let them know that we want them to work. We've got motherload job training. Maybe we need to certify these people in specific things, help them learn to go do an interview. I can't tell you how many times I had somebody come to an interview as a corporate hiring person in flip-flops and gym shorts. You know, you're looking at, they need to be taught that that's not acceptable, okay? Maybe a certification. Somebody brought this up to me and I'm passing it on. I think it's a good idea. We need to get these people out to the workforce. How do I know that we're not doing it? We've got all these people that are unemployed because they're on the declared rolls, but in the last 10 days, I've had 2 small business people say that they can't find employees even after trying to find them. And I've had 3 big employers, and the big employers offered these employees a pretty good package if they wanted to work for it going forward. And the fact that they can't find anybody, I mean, let's face it, if you've got 6,000 people that are unemployed, then you have got a good pool there, even if it's just a quarter of them that are great potential employees. And when new business comes here and when existing business wants to do a good job here, they've got to have a workforce. And I really believe that that's on my heart, that we've got to find these people, convince them we want them to work, and help them find a way to get to that that job.
All right, Steve. Our last question. Does the building and permit process inhibit building? How would you go about fixing it?
Well, I've never applied for a building permit, so, you know, what I know is that I'm looking on the inside, I'm looking on the outside, inside, but I have applied for a business permit. When you go get that, you start at one department, you go to another, you go to another, you go to another. Well, maybe a lot of that could have been done online instead of bouncing around. And I think the building permit process is a lot of the same way. I looked up on the county website, and there's a actual flow of where you're supposed to go. Maybe we need to find a way to bring those to the applicant to make it a little more business friendly, okay? And then there are other things. How do we help the department itself do better? People have property rights, and they've got the right to build in this county, and we need to support that, and we need to help them do that. But maybe in a lot of the times when they want to build, what they want to build is not that complicated. What if we had set up things like, you have to understand that a barn is going to be the same building permit process as a 4-bedroom home. What if we set plans for several different type of barns, and maybe several different type of really small homes that they can put on ag property, and they don't, when they want to do that, it's online, they go in there, they say, okay, this has already been permitted, and the building department okays it, we're going to build this. Sort of like a prefab home, I guess, in a way, but that might solve a lot of issues going forward. And what that'll do is, and I'm not suggesting that anybody has to do that. Somebody wants to build a barn up here, and they want to put in heated stalls and hydraulic hay hooks. I'm all for that, okay? It's America, and they got the darn right to do that, and I'll support that. But if we can make it easier by making the department more efficient, we might just get the people who want that 4-bedroom home on the hill the chance to do that without working through such a frustrating situation.
Thank you, Steve. All right, let's go to Mike Gorian. All right, Mike, same questions. We'll do them in the same order. Do you feel the RIM fees are an impediment to job growth and creation? And do you feel there is a better alternative for financing the public roads in our county?
The RIM fees, so you know, for any new residents to Calaveras County, it's $4,429, and that's road impact mitigation fee. That's the same fee if you're building 800 square foot house or 8,000 square foot house. It may have an impact on some projects. If you're building a 500,000 square foot house or $500,000 house, it's not a big deal. But if you're building a $120,000 house and you're just cutting to the bone, your family house, yeah, it could make or break a project. You can compare it to our competition, which is our neighboring counties in the north and the south. We're slightly, let me make sure I get this right. We're slightly more than Tuolumne County by a couple $100. We're tremendously lower than Amarillo County and about a third of the cost of El Dorado County. Is there a better way to do it? Well, I sure hope so. It's a blanket mitigation fee. It's charged to people who aren't here to vote on this stuff, so the people who are charging this tax didn't have a say on it. So it's a little bit like taxation without representation. And all these people are building a house, say, for example, in Blue Lake Springs. The lot was built 40 years ago, the roads were there, and now because they're in line now to build a house now, they got to pay for the road that the other lot owners have been, used without that extra fee for a long time. Does it impact some projects going forward? Yes, on the marginal cases. Not a huge impact, I don't think, because they don't have any other way to go for a cheaper RIM fee. But I think there's a better way to do it. We have to improve our roads. We're not getting enough tax revenues to do it in regular methods. And it's complicated. And Jack had a great idea. I didn't think about it. I'll give him full credit. If we could put that in an installment period, maybe $1,000 the first year, and so every year. So it's not a big hit. The first year to build a house, especially if it's your family house, you're scraping by to get it done. So if we can break it up into 4-year installments, the county still gets some money, and the homeowner doesn't get a giant hit right at the start. And red play.
Red play. I'm going to take executive privilege and throw a question in there that's not on our thing. If a private developer comes in, puts in a project, and the road is not county maintained, do they still have to pay that fee?
I actually researched yesterday, and the developer does not pay the fee, the homeowner pays the fee when they build the house.
Why would the homeowner have to pay that fee when they have no road being taken care of for them?
That fee doesn't pay the road from, say, the public road to their house. That fee is for all the county roads in general. I agree there's a little bit of unfairness there because they have to actually maintain their road that's inside their subdivision. But that fee is maintaining all the county roads, the county maintained roads.
Okay. We'll give you the last one on this one. Does the building and permit process inhibit building? How would you go about fixing it?
Oh, you bet it does. I'm actually probably the most in tune with that. I'm a home designer. I've designed over 200 homes, and I've submitted many building permits. I do really good in the process. I'm on first name basis with everybody. I know the ins and outs, how it works. A couple months ago, I sent my wife down to submit a building permit because it had to be done this date, and the clients were out of town. She called me twice in the process. Are you kidding me? You do this every time? Do you believe it or not, it's 2014, right? The county still uses a triplicate carbon copy form for the building permit because it got half copies. I guess the Xerox machine hasn't hit the building department yet. I've seen other departments where all the forms, all the information, everything is online. You can pull up a PDF, you fill it out at home, you answer your questions at home, you take that to county, they get a nice typewritten form versus my chicken scratch. The process is daunting. You go to the building department, you go to on-site sewage, you go to the public works, and I should know, but I can't think of it right now. I think we should be more customer service oriented. We got to pretend like we're working for these people come to the office because, well, we are working for those folks. We're going to make the process simple, pleasant, and well thought out. I think a person comes to the county with their plans, one-stop shop. They can make a call, go to planning, check the setbacks. They can go to public works, check the road egress. It can be done much easier. There's a lot of, if you look at all the different codes, there's a stack of books this thick. We have to migrate through these giant codes. The building official's job is to help the people navigate these unbelievable, complicated, conflicting codes we have. We can do a much better job so that when you go down to apply for a building permit, you're going to go, hey, I'm going to have a fun day today, versus I don't think anybody looks forward to that. It's kind of like elective dentistry.
Okay, thank you. And Marty Crane will be next.
Oh, the other question?
I threw in one on him.
Okay. Wild card on me. I was ready for that.
Oh. You gotta watch out how you do tricks. Okay. Marty, does the building and permit process inhibit building, and how would you go about fixing it?
I think that every project is unique. I went in and asked this very question about a year ago. We personally had a project and we did not find it daunting at all, but our project was small compared to some of the ones that we see. So I think each one is unique. I think everything is on the table. It should be a functional process, clear, practical, consistent, and equally applied. Some people might feel comfortable doing it online, which I think is a great idea. We might also consider a one-stop shop at the county where we have someone from the appropriate departments there to answer questions. And I'm open to all kinds of ideas and suggestions, but everything is on the table.
Okay. Do you feel the RIM fees are an impediment to job growth and creation? And do you feel there is a better alternative for financing public roads in our county?
I think I mentioned earlier that I attend about 20 meetings a month, and I've been to meetings where we have talked about the RIM fees and had that robust discussion many times. And had we instituted the RIM fee many years ago, we would now be in better positioned to take care of the roads that we have. We now have about $340 million worth of repairs and road repairs, and those are unfunded. And we have an anticipated income of about 149 million from all federal sources through 2035. So the math is not a good picture, not a pretty picture.
Okay. And what would you do to make the county more attractive to business?
Well, I think that broadband is absolutely the first thing that and we're already working on it. All the things that I mentioned earlier about the quality of life, I am personally working on every one of those through one or more of the meetings that I attend, the groups. You can't know how we got to a conversation, how it got to a decision, unless you were part of the conversation. You can't read the minutes and figure that out. I mean, it's all, you have to have the fullness of the conversation. And in 2002, I took over the day-to-day operations of the volunteer center. I work with volunteers all over the county, and that's working with the community already. So I think everything that we see in our quality of life is dependent on the availability of volunteers, and they are phenomenal. And I just think that they will step up. Our libraries depend on it. So many things depend on it.
Okay, thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Marita, it's your turn. Let's start out with what would you do to make the county more attractive to business?
I think it's a beautiful county. And if we would stop looking at everything in a negative way, we would see how many wonderful things we have going. We have the arts during the summer. We have music in all of the parks. The transit occupancy tax is up. In my district alone, it's up almost 10% over last year. We have 2 businesses that I know of. One's gone from 2 employees to 12 employees in a year. Another business has gone from 12 to 24 employees in about 6 months. We have a gallery in Arnold that took over a space that, for whatever reason, closed down, and now we have a gallery called Timeless Gallery, where local artists have their products. We have a film industry. You want something positive? Well, maybe we don't do a business permit for films that come to the county. We have the Williamson Act. That is a huge benefit for our ag community. And site visits. We've had one a planner and someone from Public Works go with some developers to look at potential sites in the county, and that's money that the taxpayers of Calaveras are paying for. It's not charged to a project. So there's a lot of things that we can do, and one of the things we can do is making sure all of you shop local. I was at a meeting recently and someone said, well, I'm going to Costco, can I help you? Can I get things for you? And someone said, I can, I shop at Big Trees Market. Those are the things we have to do. If we start supporting the existing businesses and we find ways to help them, it'll bring others in, and nothing else. I have a red flag. And I could go on.
That only means you have 10 seconds. You can say all the words you can do in 10 seconds.
10 seconds? Oh, well, 10 seconds. We had a business come in who wants to expand an existing business, and he wanted to know what he had to do for ADA. That's an existing business that wants to expand. So a lot's happening in our county. Like, give me a red flag and all. What? What's my next question?
Next question.
Next question.
Does the building and permit process inhibit building? How would you go about fixing it?
Well, I think that question is creating a condition that doesn't exist. I think it's based on an antiquated history. If you have, which we do in this county, experienced professional designers, like Mr. Boyan said that he is, I'm not saying he's not, bringing projects in they go smoothly. We have good contractors that come in, you can get over-the-counter permits for something. A house today takes maybe 2 weeks to get it. We only have one plan checker for the county because the building department is funded with permits. It is not funded with any general fund money. Also, the realtors, we get probably 30, 40 requests every week from the realtors that want to know the status of permits. And there's no charge to the real estate community for that except for, I think, 50 cents a copy. And the trend is up for permits. And I really think that the new dynamic of what is happening in the county now doesn't meet what happened 7 years ago or 5 years ago. The building inspectors, I got a call, unsolicited if you can believe, from a developer who said, Marita, I just want you to know that the building inspector's really been helping me on my project and giving me ideas. You know, so let's look at things in a positive way. Our building department is, and that's a yellow one. I'm ready for the next question.
Hey, see, you didn't even use up all your time on that.
No, and nobody can have my time. I don't share it.
It might be for sale, I don't know. Do you feel the RIM fees are an impediment to job growth and creation? Do you feel there's a better alternative for financing the public roads in our county?
Okay, those of you who've been in Calaveras for some time know that we have a road impact mitigation fee because we were sued in 1986. Our general plan was a growth-inducive general plan. You cannot have a growth-inducive general plan unless you have a circulation element that meets it. So we were sued, we were lost. We're a classic casebook study on what not to do. Okay, so the Board of Supervisors is pretty conservative financially. That's the culture of the board. Fast forward to, I don't know, 2002, 2003, we still don't have a RIM fee. We were sued again because we didn't have a road impact fee, and the road impact fee does not maintain existing roads. The road impact fee is to handle the growth of the roads, the turn lanes, the passing lanes, the right turn lanes, and so forth. So the board instituted a road impact fee, and then so the lawsuit was called off, which is good because that costs taxpayers money. So do I think there's another option? No. But what it does do is it helps us match money. So for example, those of you who live in the Valley Springs area, there'll be a project at 12 and 26. The road impact fee will be the county's match to the money that will be spent by Caltrans. So, you know, I'm a politician. Do I want to have fees? No. But I don't see another option. And if you want to grow, you have to somehow accommodate that growth.
Thank you very much, Marita. All right, Darren Spillman. Darren, I'll start you right out with the RIM fees. Do you feel the RIM fees are an impediment to job growth and creation? Do you feel there is a better alternative for financing the public roads in our county?
I don't think that they're an impediment to growth or development. And the reason why I think that is because every time I take Latrobe Road over to 50 through El Dorado Hills, I see tons of houses and tons of businesses being built. And El Dorado, El Dorado Hills right there, has the highest RIM fee in the entire state for their municipality. So it's obviously not impacting their ability to build quality shopping centers, homes, other things like that. The fact of the matter is, and the realtors in the audience will be able to quantify this, you get a greater home value by living in an area that has properly maintained infrastructure. Nobody wants to live on, a road that's full of potholes and takes your car out of alignment every time you go down the road, especially if you have a decent vehicle. But what needs to happen, though, is these RIM fees. Ms. Calloway, Supervisor Calloway, alluded to a lawsuit that we lost on two occasions. The RIM fee is an actuality. I mean, it has to be there. You can't not have one. But what needs to happen is it needs to be fair and equitable. I'll give you an instance. There's an individual that owns some commercial property in Valley Springs. He wants to build a movie theater. He's wanted to build one for many years. The county currently has $700,000 per screen, something like that. It's really crazy. He wanted to build like a 3-screen theater, 4-screen theater. It's gonna be like $1.7 million. In that instance, my wife is a real movie buff. We live in Valley Springs, south of Valley Springs, so we try to go to Angels Theater to support our county theater, the only one we have. But regardless of whether we go to Angels Theater or Lodi or Jackson, which is the ones we go to most often, we have to go buy that guy's property, which is in Valley Springs proper. So how would it be logical to say that if he built a movie theater in Valley Springs, that we're causing more road impact by his movie theater? The fact of the matter is, I'd be going to the movies in Valley Springs instead of in Angels or Lodi or Jackson, so I'd be causing less road impact. So it isn't a matter of RIM fees or no RIM fees, it's just a matter of being equitable and fair in coming to a better conclusion of how those should be,
Okay,
how those should play out.
all right, thank you. What would you do to make the county more attractive to business?
More attractive to business. Well, we could have big billboards right when you come in the county, right above the mining carts with pictures of the current Calaveras County Fair Queen. You know, the saddle queen, or those gals that every year you see them in the newspaper. That'd probably attract a few more people. But beyond that, I mean, the thing that's going to make people attracted to the county in terms of especially businesses, okay, they want to see that they're not wasting their time and money spinning their wheels. The biggest impediment, as I see it, to attracting businesses here is not for lack of having a population to support their business to make a profit. The problem exists in the lack of consistency in the Board of Supervisors, in the county departments. Because nobody's going to invest millions of dollars in something that they think can be kiboshed on any given Tuesday because a couple supervisors don't want their plan versus somebody else's plan. So if we can get rid of these backdoor deals, have transparency, and welcome people to our county by showing that we have a consistent pattern of following procedures, I think we will see a lot of business development come to this county. But until that happens, I really don't see it happening. Case in point, we gave a guy up in Arnold a permit to open a marijuana dispensary. It's not only is he not from Calaveras County, he's not even from the state. The guy packed his car and moved here from Utah to open up a marijuana dispensary because he heard it was easy pickings in Calaveras County. When you allow someone like that to open up and do business without a permit, not in the proper zone, that sends a real bad message to actual legit business owners who want to open businesses that would create jobs and revenue that we could be proud of here in Calaveras County. So until such time that the Board of Supervisors has a spine to say no to people that are subverting the current laws that are on the book, we're not showing the type of consistency that's necessary for large corporations or even mid-sized or small corporations to invest their millions of dollars in our county.
All right, and the last question is, does the building permit process inhibit building? How would you go about fixing it?
Well, I can speak to that one from personal experience. When I moved here in 2003, my in-laws already lived here and they offered me free land to build on. And I was like, hot diggity, who gets that offer? So I was excited, knowing as a realtor, which I was practicing realtor full-time in 2003, at that time, I knew that the state had a law for accessory dwellings that said that any parcel that was 1 acre or more could have an accessory dwelling, regardless of CC&Rs, regardless of county ordinance. That was a state law that overrode and trumped any local ordinance. So I went to the planning department and I submitted my idea that I wanted to have an accessory dwelling, and they told me it wasn't going to happen. We went rounds a couple times, and finally I went home and printed out the California State Code, took it to their office, and told them the next time we talked it was going to be with my attorney. They changed their tune. My house was built. So, but what I want to say is I don't want to paint them in a bad light. what I wanted to get across to you is that things need to change, and I wanted to give you hope that they are changing. Because of the current crisis that we're in fiscally, with the challenge monetarily, it's causing us, very painfully so, to have to reevaluate everything. So the building department, planning department, as well as all the other departments are being turned upside down and inside out and retooled. We don't have a lot of money to do the retooling, and that's what makes the process a little bit more painful than any of us care for. But the reality is that's what's happening. So I think that the building department today is probably a much more fluid operation and more friendly than it was in 2003 when I moved to the county and applied for a permit to construct my dream home. And I think that it's getting better as we go. That's my perception.
Okay, thank you very much, Darren.
You're welcome.
Let's go with Roy here. All right, Roy. I'll start out where we just left off. Does the building permit process inhibit building? And how would you go about fixing it?
Well, I think there's inefficiencies that could definitely be corrected, like everyone else alluded to. But the biggest problem with the building permit process is the building code itself. California has one of the most oppressive and corrupt building codes, I think, in the country. In my mind, and I know it would take a lot to get there, I like Oklahoma's building code. You go to the building department, tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to build, and they say, okay, have a nice day. They don't even look at your plans. The best advocate of your building and your investment is probably you. You don't want a building that falls down on you. So moving forward, I think as the state pushes down more and more regulations, we should find ways to get out of them, such as residential fire sprinklers. Hey, I'm a fireman. I'll be the first one to tell you, they're probably a good thing. They're going to save lives, definitely make your home safer. But it should be your individual option to put something like that. It's a big investment. It adds more expenses to your home. Also, for instance, putting a meter on your well. I've heard that this is something that the current supervisors have voted yes on. Things like that we should get away from. Stand up to California, push back, tell them, hey, no, you're not pushing any more regulations on us. And that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you feel the RIP fees are an impediment to job growth and creation? Do you feel there's a better alternative for financing the public roads in our county?
Well, taxes in their nature are not good for business and they're not good for individuals, but there's no such thing as a free lunch. When you develop property, there's going to be impact on roads and we need to be able to have the money to pay for those. Now, that's when common sense comes into play, and I don't think there could be a blanket fee that applies to every situation, such as an individual basis. We need to make decisions, and how do we get there? I'm not sure. There needs to be some formality to that. Also, when you give money, let's say I'm in Valley Springs and I'm giving you my money to put towards the roads, that money really should stay in that area. We should divide it up. Why would my impact mitigation fees go to somebody in Arnold? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think those fees need to be localized and saved for wherever that business or residence is built.
Okay. And what would you do to make the county more attractive to business?
As many of you may know, our county is on the verge of insolvency if we don't get our debt and deficits straightened out. Our current supervisors have been spending savings and the teeter funds and as our revenues have come down, they have continued to spend like we have all this money coming in, and eventually we're going to have to pay the piper, and it's going to become very expensive to live here. We need to bring the confidence back that Calaveras County is a viable place to set up your business or your residence. at the current way the county does business, this isn't something that, if I was an outsider looking in, hey, I want to invest into a county, there's the way the supervisors are currently doing business, there's no way I would invest here. So, bringing back the confidence, lowering taxes, lowering fees, setting that environment of freedom, and saying that, hey, Calaveras County is a good place to come raise your family. We're going to have less government interference in your lives. That's going to create confidence, and people will come back. You'll stop the negative job growth. We need to eliminate duplications of services in order to save money, to be able to cut our deficits out and stop deficit spending. And that's going to, when you bring back that environment of freedom and liberty, something that word is becoming less and less frequent in our state. Freedom, liberty, property rights. When you bring that back, we put that environment in our county, you're going to see things turn around and get better.
All right, Roy, I have one more question for you, and then you can make a closing statement for yourself. Is Agenda 21, the smart growth or sustainable development issue, a concern in Calaveras County?
Absolutely. Agenda 21 is very complicated, and it's something that socialists have dreamed about for years. And in fact, it's going to be, if it's implemented, which is being implemented all the time through the building code and other things like smart growth that some individuals have talked about this evening, it effectively is ruining our economy. It's in every aspect of our planning, community plans, general plan, and that's why you're seeing these plans not coming together, because the socialism that they're pushing down in the plans, people aren't happy about it. So you're seeing some pushback, and the general plan will never get finished. And until we push out all that socialism, such as communities coming together, planning personal property rights or personal property, until you get that out of there, this county will never be a viable place to raise families, to have business. Nobody, your neighbor has no right to tell you what to do with your property. And the process is already there in place to go to the county, ask permission to build. And the county, the only thing we need to do is make sure that whatever you're going to do doesn't infringe on what your neighbor's property rights. We shouldn't create an environment where a collective makes decisions on individual rights, liberty, and property.
Okay, why don't you make a little closing statement, and then we'll go to the next candidate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll make this brief. I'm not a great speaker, you probably already noticed that. But we're at a crossroads here in our county. We're at a crossroads here in our state and our federal government. Decisions we make now are going to affect our children's lives. And we need to re-up and swear allegiance to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, because that's the document that has preserved our individual rights and liberties and has made this country so successful. The United States of America is the most successful country in America, in the world's history, excuse me. And that is because we preserve those natural rights of life, liberty, and property. And now you're seeing us get away from that document that made us so successful. The United States have created more jobs, more opportunity, and more scientific advances than any other country in history. We're getting away from that idea that freedom and letting individuals succeed at what they do best will make this country succeed. So, we need to swear allegiance to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, get off the individuals' backs, stop interfering with our neighbors' lives, and you're going to see an economy that booms. And I would appreciate your vote June 3rd, and together we can bring back the America that it used to be. When we stand up for ourselves, push back on the state, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Tell them who they're voting for.
Roy Stockery, thank you.
Mike, I didn't forget you, so Mike Olivera, it's your turn. Oh, no. Don't knock it over, Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mike Oliver, and I'm waiting for the first question.
Do you feel the RIM fees are an impediment to job growth and creation? Do you feel there is a better alternative financing for the public roads in our county?
RIM fees are a necessity. Have we listened here today to our candidates? Have I listened to everybody and our agencies here in the county and our realtors, our new home prospective buyers and home sellers? Yes, we do have a need for RIM fees, but we need to have reasonable RIM fees. RIM fees that will, number one, ensure that our prosperity and our infrastructure will continue here in Calaveras County. Now that includes the maintenance, also includes the new construction of county roads. Yes, we need RIM fees. We need to have them reasonable.
Thank you. What would you do to make the county more attractive to business?
I would start as I have already. We need to foster our existing businesses, the businesses that have continued on through these economic times. It's hard. I'm sure some of you folks are business owners here. I know you realtors have had a hard time. But we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Listings are starting to come over a little bit better than they were last year. And is that due to our economic condition? Yeah, it is, because there's some very fantastic real estate deals out there. I have already started that process. When I started my campaign, we started a program to foster our existing businesses, to give them that local little boost, maybe just enough to hang on for another year. But we've had that happen, and it's growing. We need to entice our new businesses coming into this county, but we need to do it in a reasonable, sensible way. We need jobs, we need safety, we need prosperity in this county. The people that are going to make that happen are you and me and our Board of Supervisors, our county, our economic development committees, all working in the same direction. Now, I propose a program where we have an economic development committee made up, ironically, volunteers. Volunteer professionals that have retired but bring to the table the experience, the assets to go through and make this a viable project. Not only for the newcomers and the new businesses, but the county itself, working with the development programs, working with our planning and working with our permit process, working with what we have in the same direction. Thank you.
All right, and does the building permit process inhibit building? How would you go about fixing it?
We would have to take a real long, hard look at our process right now. Now, tonight we've heard from both sides of that issue. Yes, we have a good, proper issue. No, we don't have a proper issue. We need to analyze what we're doing in our building and planning division, or actually department, and look at it as being a profit center for everybody. Now, if we can establish a building and planning division that entices new businesses, that is prosperous for not only the folks that want to build here, but prosperous and continual income for our county and our future and present residents. Folks, we have a retirement community up in Arnold that are on fixed incomes. Now we have a problem of our new fees being levied for repairs of their existing homes. That's going to be a big financial hit. Compare that with our existing economy. We need to act, and we need to do things now. Thank you.
Okay, I have one of the questions from the audience here, so I'll give you a shot at it. How much of our sales tax dollars does the county get back? Does the loss of business and sales tax spent in Amador, or Tuolumne for that matter, significantly impact for our county?
I don't have the exact figure of the amount of our sales tax that the county gets back after it's issued back to the states, the franchise tax board, and things of that sort. We are losing revenue, as you well know, because our residents here are going to Amador County, they're going to Tuolumne County, and they're going to the big box stores where the savings are substantial compared to our local businesses. I like the idea of shopping local, but I like the idea of shopping sensibly too. I don't propose to encourage big box stores in Calaveras County. We don't want that. Sometimes what we don't want, we can't have. I don't think the demographics in this county will support a big box store, although we need to be aware that we need to have sensible, reasonable growth. Otherwise, we are not going to survive. We have to welcome businesses. We have to welcome new residents, full and part-time. We have to work with our realtors. We have to work with our planning departments. We have to work with our permit departments. We have to work with our public safety, because you can't have a prosperous county if you don't have a safe county. How can the folks that are involved in real estate sales promote a property here in this county that's not safe to come to? Thank you.
And you give us a closing statement now, Michael?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have ownership in this county. I'm not as long as a lifetime resident, but I have had the opportunity to put my thumb on the pulse of this county in dealing with crisis on an emergency staff level by being a reserve deputy. I've seen our administration, how it operates, and there is definite problems. We're faced with a big budget problem of actually 8.1 million going into this fiscal year, and that budget has not even been addressed yet because it's in the process of being finalized by our current Board of Supervisors. I think we should have a line review of each budget item, and we're going to suffer some severe cuts, but we need to find out where those cuts are going to be and how it's going to affect our county, and what our priorities are to get this program back on board. I am just that type of guy. I am the guy to do that. I have the experience in budgets, I have the experience in construction, I have experience in law enforcement, I have experience in dealing with these issues. I have the dedication and the leadership to make this happen. I will want you to vote. I need your vote on June 3rd to put me in the District 3 Supervisor seat. Please vote for Michael Olivera. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. All right, Marita, I have one more question for you, and then you can give your closing statement. From the audience.
Is
How
this
would you-
directed to me personally?
Oh,
or
no.
to all of us? Okay.
Okay,
just
yeah,
wanna check.
anybody, it's a potluck question.
Oh, I like popcorn.
I just reach into the podium and pull them out. How would you fix the $8.1 million budget shortage? What cuts would the county make to address it?
As most of you know who have watched me on the board, I am a fiscal conservative. We will not get out of this 8 whatever in this next budget year. This past year, I did not support the recommended budget. I did not support the recommended budget because the board chose to use one-time funds to fund ongoing positions. That's one of the reasons why we're in the predicament we're in now. It will take probably 2-3 years for us to get out of this budget challenge that we're in. We have been in it before, and the board has to make difficult decisions. We've already made the decisions to freeze hiring. We're going to have to look at using some one-time money to move us forward. The board is going to have the courage not to fund positions, not to fund ongoing costs. So there's not any one answer, but every single department in Calaveras County is going to have to ante something up to help us with the budget crisis or challenge. And I don't have an easy answer to this. It'll be up to 3 members of the Board of Supervisors to make that difficult decision.
Thank you very much. Would you please do your closing statement now?
I will. Bob Middleton wrote probably a couple of months or so ago that yesterday is experience and tomorrow is hope. Well, I have the experience and I have the commitment for tomorrow's hope. I have represented my constituents and the residents of Calaveras County with integrity, commitment, and results. I am transparent in my dealings. There isn't a vote that I have taken on the Board of Supervisors that people don't understand why I have taken that vote. So I know that some of the decisions the board makes are very difficult. Some of them are painful and some of them are very sensitive. And I have the experience, I have the insight to face the challenges of today and tomorrow, and I want your vote June 3rd for tomorrow's hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Marita. And now we come down to Mike Borean. I've got an audience question for you, and then you can do your closing statement.
Okay.
When voters in Calaveras County refuse to increase taxes, how can we pay for more services, police, education, etc., much less pay down our debts?
Simple answer is we cannot. It takes money to pay for things. As voters in the county say we're not going to pay any more money, then we have to look at the budget and we have to match our services and our county budget accordingly. We can look outside the county budget, look for grants, but those are short-sighted and not consistent. To have a good county government, we need a thriving private sector. And I'm not in favor of raising taxes. For the government to succeed, it needs to have a vibrant private sector. My plan is to make this county so we earn the reputation of being very friendly to business. And that's the only way we're going to solve our budgets, by having more commerce. We have declined in several years due to the recession, but also due to things we've done at the board level in the past. We need to encourage business development. We need to streamline the permitting process. We need to have a mission statement of excellent customer service at the county level. Most county employees do a good job on their individual level, but they need support and need a mission statement from the top. It's critically important. It's easy to underestimate how important it is a pleasant person on the phone is. If a person is looking to invest a great deal of money in an area, hopefully it's Calaveras County, and they make the phone call, and if they're given less than excellent customer service, if they're given a runaround, if they're being disrespected anywhere, they're going to look somewhere else to do the business. So when they call Calaveras County, they have to meet with a friendly, helpful, courteous person who's going to guide them through the process. Another one of my plans is I'm going to personally solicit outside businesses to reinvest here. I think we have a phenomenal opportunity because the cost of overhead in the area is just so high. It's running a lot of the small manufacturers out. These companies with 10 to 20 employees that have skilled and semi-skilled labor. I think they can easily come up here. They can be extremely competitive with lower cost of doing business, and they would bring up jobs that aren't seasonal, that aren't winery, and they're not ag, and they're not related to a good winter in Bear Valley. We need to diversify our economic base, and that would do a great deal for our economy here. And so we can do it without raising taxes, just getting more economy or more commerce to tax.
And now your closing statement.
I've been pretty fortunate in life. I was able to grow up here. I was able to raise my kids here. I had a really great career in fire service. I worked with very honorable men and women, and it was a job where we got to actually make a difference in other people's lives. I was able to coach wrestling here in this school and produce a champion team. I was able to watch a lot of young people here grow up. I coached a lot of, I imagine there's a few of you out in the audience whose children I've coached. And I've had some pretty good accomplishments in my life. With the exception of being a father, a husband, and a papa, this challenge ahead of me, being your county supervisor, will be the most important thing I've done in my life. I would very much appreciate your vote on June 3rd. I will make an excellent an excellent county supervisor for you, and I will represent you to the best of my ability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike. All right, Martha Marty Crane, it's your turn.
It's just Marty.
Okay, Marty, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Here's a question from our audience.
Okay.
What is your position on the Cal State control of all state water resources?
Cal State control of, say that again.
All, the California state control of all state water sources. I didn't write it.
Well, that's certainly one that I've been on the fringes of, but in all honesty, I need more information. So I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. Final statement for Marty.
Okay. First, I'd like to say thank you to Marita. She's been mentoring us all for years. And she did a little bit more of that tonight. So I appreciate that. And also I want to thank everyone for acknowledging the volunteer efforts throughout this county tonight, because life would cease to exist as we know it if every volunteer said, that's it, I'm done. So just that being said, I also want to say that we spend millions on our jail, and the majority of our inmates were on meth or drinking before the age of 14. Our biggest recycling program that we have here is recidivism. And we need to know who's in the system and what do they have in common. It's illiteracy, poverty, addiction, domestic violence, mental illness. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't say it right up front that incarcerating, criminalizing mental health patients is criminal. It is inappropriate, dangerous, and a financial waste of our resources. We are looking at a 5th generation of meth users. We need to set our ideologies aside and get our kids off meth. There are lots of good and capable people working on this, and this is one of the groups, several of the groups that I work with on a monthly basis, and we're making progress, but we all have to be aware and stay focused on the progress. We need to, can I buy another minute?
It's your closing statement, rock on,
Oh, thank you.
but quickly.
Yes. Okay, so I just wanted to say that I didn't want to end on a negative thing. All our departments working together, I'd like us to encourage a culture not based in competition, but rather cooperative sharing of information, abilities, and support. Each department is funded separately, and we need to rethink how we fund the departments. We're now blending 3 departments right now: Public Health, Mental Health, and CalWorks into one department. It is Calaveras Health and Human Services. It's a big job, it's not done overnight, and it requires dedication and leadership. In the interest of public safety and our financial responsibility, maybe we should start the conversation, study that model, and consider the possibilities. I agree with our CAO's, County Administrative Officers' efforts to consolidate the departments. For 6 to 8 years, we have had cut, and none of it went to administration. I'd like to see more of the money going into public service, and we can maybe do a little planning, succession planning, watch for, I think we're probably already doing this, watching for the upcoming retirements and see where that takes us. We need to be thoughtful, consider the big picture, and I'm wondering, where's our comprehensive plan? I think this is all part of it. So we need to change the narrative, regardless of the outcome of this election. Calaveras County is drop dead gorgeous. And you can compare that maybe to LA, Stockton. You're right back here. This is the cream of the crop. And we get to live here, so we need to shop local, And support our motherlode job training, our schools, our libraries, the volunteer fire departments, our sheriff, the Humane Society, and our community volunteer efforts. Calaveras is unique and special. We should all step up. We already do, but more of us could.
Marty.
Play fair and have a little faith in us. And for that, on June 3rd? June 3rd, I'm asking for your vote. Thank
And
you.
give them your name. Come on.
Marty Crane. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Marty. Okay, who do we have left here that's got to do a closing statement? We got Daryl Spellman. Darren Spellman. Sorry about that.
And Bobby Darren. I think that was my name. No, I can't sing like Russ Thomas.
I have one question from the audience for you, and then you can do your closing statement. What is the current status of the evacuation routes for the Blue Mountain area or the uphills for the upcoming fire season?
Can I take a mulligan on that one? I'm not from that area, so I'm not really familiar with. Yeah, like swap it out for a different one.
Anybody else know? Pack your cars and be ready.
That would be helpful. 72-hour kit, sleeping bags.
Okay, do your closing statement, please.
Can I address one of the other questions that was asked to the other candidates so I do have some
Yeah,
answers?
okay, sure.
Okay, we had one here about budget challenge, $8 million budget challenge. We had a question about revenue we're losing to other counties.
Right, for taxation.
Yeah, which one of those would you guys like to hear? Okay, fine, I'll take the revenues out of county. I'll take that one for 5. I mentioned before that as a realtor in Modesto, I went to meetings on a regular basis where we were entertained by politicians of different stripes, talking about things that could bring revenue, jobs to our community in Stanislaus County and in the city of Modesto. One of the most poignant conversations that I was privy to was a almost humiliating plea from the mayor of Modesto that was asking the Realtors Association, because y'all are very connected. You know a lot of people, that's your business, to know a lot of people and to have connections. And he was pleading with us to use our social networking contacts to make people aware of how much money we had to potentially lose by a small faction, but dirty faction of people that were trying to kibosh on a big shopping center in northeast Modesto, which was close to where I lived, and I was excited for that shopping center. The mayor told us that 30% of the operating general fund budget of the city of Modesto came from commercial and retail sales. 1/3 of their operating budget. Guess how much of our operating budget in Calaveras County comes from commercial and retail sales? 6%. So that tells you something. We're missing out on a whole lot of money, millions of dollars, that would fill the holes that we need to fill. And I'm not just talking about potholes, I'm talking about holes in our financial statement ledger. So I think it's absolutely essential. And by the way, that shopping center that they didn't build in northeast Modesto because people were causing a problem, worried about it, that went down the road, 5 miles down the road to the city of Riverbank. It's now called the Crossroads Shopping Center with Home Depot and Staples and all kinds of good stuff. And they're making millions of dollars every year off it. And Modesto lost their shorts. So I know what we need to do. And if I'm reelected, I'll do my best, but I have to have a couple other people to vote with me.
And tell them who you are.
My name is Darren Spellman. I am the current elected supervisor for District 5. As the boundaries are configured at this time with 2 voting precincts in Rancho Calaveras and 1 in Jenny Lind, and 4 years ago I received 60.1% of the vote for those 3 precincts. That's why I wasn't recalled by people who thought that I ought to be doing things differently. The fact of the matter is, the only promises I made when I was campaigning was that I would be tireless in the pursuit of making life better for the citizens that elected me, and trying to keep their taxes low, trying to make myself available to them. But my main promise was that I would be honest, forthright, and tell the truth. That's what people wanted most, what I heard. They wanted transparency. They wanted to know what was going on, what are we doing or what are we not doing, and they just wanted communication. So I've done that. And I hope that people will vote for me on June 3rd. Thank you. Darren Spelman.
Thank you, Darren. And last but not least, Stephen Kearney. All right, Stephen, I have one audience question for you. Let's hope we have some good luck here. With 12% of the population of Calaveras County being veterans, will you, if possible, try to bring veterans services to the county?
Oh, absolutely. My dad is a Korean War vet. He's got 3 battle stars from Korea. My son's currently wearing the uniform. I don't think I've got a choice with them. You know, I'm sold on the vets. I'm working with them. One of the first projects I ever got involved with when I came to the county was the vets coming to me and asking me to get involved with helping them get funds for a park. And so I stepped up with the grant applicant and worked with them, and we got a private grant, and that's why there's playground in Jenny Lynn's Veterans Memorial Park. Will I do the best I can to work for the vets? You betcha.
Okay, and your closing statement.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. You care about the county, otherwise you wouldn't be here. I care about the county, and we've all got that in common. I know not everybody's here from District 5, and I'm going to tell you at the beginning of my closing statement, my name's Steve Kearney, and I want your vote if you are in District 5 on June 3rd. But just as importantly, I want the support of everybody in the county, and I want to know what the whole county wants to happen. I've got a background in business, and I've got a background in public interaction. I've done it for years and years, and I'll bring that to the table. I have been engaged in the activities of the county almost from day one, and I just described one of the very first things I did, and that just went from there. I didn't do that because I had to. My business didn't require it. I did it because I loved it, and I still do. I have an experience in the governmental process. I worked for the state legislature many, many years ago, and I got a job on the legislative staff of the California State Assemblyman. When Terry Bailey was the supervisor, I worked on the Calaveras County Fish and Game Commission, and when Russ Thomas was the supervisor, I worked on the Calaveras County Planning Commission. Each person gave me different things to think about, and I've taken those things and molded it into my own approach. Your thoughts are vital to the supervisor position going forward, including the candidates running right now, as well as what I do after I assume the position, okay? I don't ever want to think different. I want to know what everybody thinks. Even if you're not in my district, it is important. I'll hold regular office hours, and I will hold regular town hall meetings. The office hours I will keep, not just the first year, I'll keep them all 4 years, and I will do that. I really want to thank everybody tonight for being here. It's important that I hear from you. A lot of the things that when I answer the questions, I've got it read, and I don't want to play the game show. This will only take me like 60 seconds. A lot of the questions when I answered tonight were things that I've been taught, okay, by interacting with you. If not for that interaction, I might not have had the same answer. In a way, this would have been like in college, I would have felt like I was plagiarizing. But I don't feel like that because of what the people told me is important. And I want to take those things that I'm told and mold what I feel and do the best job I can as a county supervisor. As I said, I'm Steve Kearney. I'm running for supervisor in District 5, and I'll appreciate your vote on June 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. At this time, I want to thank all the supervisor candidates, the supervisors for District 3, Marita Callaway, the incumbent, Michael Oliveira, and Mike Borean, and the supervisor candidates for District 5, Marty Crane, Stephen Kearney, Darren Spellman, and Roy Eschery. I tried. Thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you all who took time out of your day to listen to the candidates here. And please, vote on June 3rd. We need population input, not apathy in this country. Thank you.